So Srimad Bhagavad-gita as it is, today's talk is from this great book, Bhagavad-gita, chapter 18, beginning from text 29. Title of this chapter is The Conclusion of the Gita, the Perfection of Renunciation. Text 29. So, word for word translation, then translation and purport. All by His divine graces confound the child. Srila Bhachan Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Papa Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Buddha of intelligence. Vedam, the differences. Drite of steadiness. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Gunataha, by the modes of material nature. Trividam, of the three kinds. Srinu, just here. Puchamanam, are described by me. Asesena, in detail. Pritaktvena, differently. Dhananjaya, a winner of wealth. A winner of wealth. Now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the three modes of material nature. Please kindly responsibly repeat. A winner of wealth. Now please listen. As I tell you in detail of the differences of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the three modes of material nature. Purport. Now, after explaining knowledge, the object of knowledge, and its knower in three different divisions according to the modes of material nature, the Lord is explaining the intelligence and determination of the worker in the same way. So we'll go to the next text. Text 30. Pritivim cha nivritim cha karya kare bhaya bhaye bandam moksham shaya veti buddhi sapata sattviki. O son of Peter, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. Please kindly respond and repeat. O son of Peter, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. So purport. Performing actions in terms of the directions of the scriptures is called pravritti, or executing actions that deserve to be performed. Actions which are not directed are not to be performed. One who does not know the scriptural directions becomes entangled in the actions and reactions of work, understanding which discriminately understanding which discriminates by intelligence is situated in the mode of goodness. Understanding which discriminates by intelligence is situated in the mode of goodness. Omagiyana Timiranasya, Kiana Janal Sarakai, Saksuru Militam, Jinatas Maisi Gurvin Ha. Chichitayam Anobistam, Starfitam Jina Bhutali, Swayam Rupam Kadamayam, Dadati Swa Padandikam. Vanchakal Pataribyacha, Kripasunam Vyayevacha, Patitanam, Pavanam Vya, Vaishnavi Vya Namona. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Itinamani, Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Picharini, Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pasvatyota Satali. So, you're welcome to Matchless Gift, normal Saturday programs. So, in this very text, in the beginning, the Lord is alerting Arjuna about what he wants to discuss. That is text 29. And in text 30 is giving some delineation about the characteristics of one whose intelligence is governed by the mode of goodness. There are three types of qualities, or three gunas, qualities of life, and that is the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. And we find that these three modes, they are the groundwork. In other words, the different permutations of these three modes create the different type of behavioral patterns we find in human society. And so, even intelligence, basically we understand that, Prabhupada would refer to intelligence as that ability to be able to discriminate between matter and spirit. But there are also people who don't just discriminate between matter and spirit. That we will refer to as spiritual intelligence. Because spiritual intelligence gives you the understanding or the idea that there is something better to do with our intellectual quotient than simply embarking on different types of material intelligences. There are several types of material intelligences. First of all, let's look at what specifically this text is talking about. Now, for someone, there are different type of people, and we find some grades of people, they don't like to do anything that their loved ones will query them for it. They don't like to do anything that people will say, but why did you do this? There are also people who may not really care about what people say. They want to see, is it ordained by God? Is it ordained by the acharyas? If it is that, if it is ordained by Krishna, it's ordained by the acharyas, to hell with anyone else. So, yeah, we can be materially very, very good in terms of considering what our neighbors will say about us, or what our friends, what our loved ones, what our spouses, what our family will say. But the point remains that this text is specifically reiterating the point that one has to act based on the scriptures. Then that discrimination is based on the quality of goodness. Because every other thing that we do basically boils down to the point that we want to create some awareness amongst people around us that about our leanings, about what we're interested in and what we are not interested in. Not about what Krishna is interested in. Not about what Prabhupada is interested in. Not about what the spiritual master is interested in. So that makes a big difference between someone in the mode of goodness who is just aligned to scriptural injunctions. And again, in the Gita, the same Gita, Lord Krishna mentions that it is only this type of people that will experience sustainable peace. Because sometimes people think that peace means the absence of trouble. But this is a world of troubles. So we can't really stay in this world without troubles. In fact, that is why the whole of the scientific arena, or especially in the social sciences, is geared towards problem solving. Because they know that the world is a problematic place. There are so many problems. If you deal with one problem, then another problem crops up. Why? Because this is the nature of this material world. It's Dukalayam Asasvatam. It's a place where we are bound to experience different type of challenges. But having that higher understanding from the scriptures, what Krishna says, what the acharyas have said, and if we use that framework as a guide in tailoring our lives, then basically we are on the pedestal of the mode of goodness. Otherwise, people have different types of approaches to life. And intelligence is something, it's not something unique, except the spiritual definition. That is unique. But otherwise, everyone in this world has some intelligence. Some people are very smart with crafts. Some people are very smart with using a knife to cure someone of a disease. The doctors, they do this. This is spatial intelligence. And there are those who are also able to manipulate the different elements of material nature. Say, for instance, people who are very highly indebted, indebted in social intelligence. They can utilize the material energy, in amazing ways. And for others who have cultural intelligence, they are able to align with different cultural settings very easily. Whereas someone who is not culturally intelligent, he may find it very difficult. I know of people, especially people from Fiji who came to this country, and they didn't stay for 2 weeks, they left. Why? Because they felt, I don't fit in here. They come from a background which is basically the culture is different. The culture is basically family oriented, community oriented. But here in America they come and everyone is a rugged individual. Rugged individualism. So they don't fit in. One of my friends, his mom is around in Seattle, and the mom is regretting, he's from India. The mom is regretting that, why the son has to book her up for 3 months to stay here. She feels very uncomfortable because that social interaction that, she's exposed to in their own communities, whereby, they go to this person's compound and this person's house and, have chit-chats with, with the neighbors and family members. That's not there. I mean, the son has gone to work and she's just going to be in the flat until he comes back, or maybe chat with the wife, and there's no place for you to to roam around and go make some chit chats. So this, when you're coming from those type of cultures, it's very difficult. So except one is highly indebted with cultural intelligence, they are able to align with any culture that they get into. But it's not so easy. So that is that's another type of intelligence. Now you find the mathematicians, they think abstractly, and they use diagrams and all these stuffs to relate to problems. And so one may say, well, if I'm not a mathematician, am I really intelligent? that being a mathematician, that is one aspect of intelligence. There are people who are very good at logic and reasoning, and they can argue cases and win cases. So the lawyers, you find them in that setting. Some of them, they're like, like no-go area. Whether you're in a complete mess, you meet them, they're able to get you out of the problem. So that's another type of intelligence. But intelligence that Krishna specifically is mentioned here is that intelligence that relates with the scriptures. It's not how smart we are in terms of kinesthetic. It's not how smart we are in terms of logic. It's not in terms of how smart we are in any other human setting. But it's about the relationship between the jiva, his actions or our actions, with the instructions of the Lord. And so we find out people like that, they're very rare on the planet. They're very rare. In fact, it's the opposite. People in general, they act completely averse to the scriptures. They wouldn't give a damn to scriptures. Because, I can claim that, well, I'm not a religious person. I'm an atheist. So I can do anything I like. Or I may say, well, I'm a Muslim. I'm allowed to marry 6 wives, eat meat, eat fish, fry, whatever. So I have my own scriptures. But the point is that the different scriptures, they help us to elevate our consciousness to a particular level where when we come to a particular status, we'll be able to appreciate this type of deeper concepts, because these concepts are not really meant for everybody. It's like when you have a kid in kindergarten, one of the kids in the family is in kindergarten, and when you come back, when you have someone who is doing maybe a PhD in mathematics, the kid can't relate to any of those abstract things. The kids can't relate with dy dx being gradient. No, it's just too abstract for them. But with time, if you give them time, they may be able to come to that higher understanding, perhaps even do better than you who is doing that now, because it's a matter of time. So following the scriptures is also like that. In other words, we don't have to just condemn any and everyone that, okay, look, I'm in the mode of goodness. My actions are based on the scriptures. And you, damn you. We don't need that. Then it becomes like, the brother who is doing a doctorate in calculus. He comes home and tells his younger brother, do you know what is dy dx? And the younger brother says, bros, I'm just in high school. I don't know. And then you say, you're damn stupid. No, it doesn't have to be in that way. Because there are levels of understanding. And as humans, our intelligence, we keep developing our intelligence. Especially if one is still a teenager. Intelligence keeps developing. And we find that even some kids, they are in the mode of goodness. Some kids are in the mode of goodness because if you tell them to do the wrong thing, even parents tell them to do the wrong thing. I know of kids like that. Some people have told me. I know one proper disciple, he told me, elderly Caucasian, he told me his story. I don't know whether I mentioned this before, but, he went when he was a kid, he went with his dad to the mall. And when they came back home, the dad sat him down and told him that, boy, in the mall, you can pick something as long as you don't get caught. But he told me, this is not right. I'm not going to do it. Just today, I was watching something on the news. So there was a 4-year-old girl who went to the mall with the mom. And then, unknown to the mom, the girl picked, what do you call it? A Barbie. What is Barbie?
A Barbie. A doll.
Okay. And the cost of the doll, you know the cost of the doll? 0.99 cents. 0.99 cents. Or I mean $0.99. In other words, it's not up to $1. But you know what? I think there is a screen, and so the person who watched the screen saw the child, took the Barbie, and they called the police. They called the police, and then the police rounded up, you know, this family. Over the news, the emphasis, you know, these TV guys, the TV journalists, the emphasis was $0.99. And the police carried a gun on the threatening to shoot the parent, threatening to kill the mother. 4 years old. So the emphasis there was that, but you know, this is a child. If even she did that consciously or unconsciously, the police overreacted. And so, one child goes to the mall without the consent of the parents, without the parents knowing, they pick something. Another child, the parent tells the child, you can pick something in the mall, as long as you don't get caught. And the child objected. This is not right. I'm not going to do it. So even the youngsters, they could be governed by the mode of goodness. In other words, don't underestimate a child. We can't say who is who until when situations crop up. And so the essential factor here is that the child, the proper disciple who objected to the father's instruction of taking something in the mall, he didn't know anything about, you know, scriptures. But, you know, conscientiously he just felt, no, this is not right, I'm not going to do it. And therefore, for church people to grow and become very ethical, very spiritual, very community-oriented, very selfless in their services, it is just an easy thing. And that is why, apparently that's why he became involved, he encountered Prabhupada and became involved in developing his spiritual life, devotional service. And so, when we are born with a particular type of consciousness, or particular type governed by the mode of goodness, people who are under the auspice of the mode of goodness, it becomes so easy for them to live their lives in a way that they don't get entangled in any type of situation, either by, you know, by instruction from superior orders or whatever. If you tell them something, they may not object, they may not tell you, no, sir, no, dad, but they will think, I'm not going to do this. Another kid told me, her mother told her that when you go to the mall, you can pick something, as long as you don't get caught. But she openly told the mother, no, I'm not going to do it. And so we find these people, this set of kids, it's not that they are adept in the scriptures. They didn't read Bhagavad-gita, to learn high, you know, ethical reasoning, ethical thinking, injunctions. Don't do this, don't do that. No, just conscientiously, they are not inclined to do something unethical. And so, with the mode of goodness, we can develop the mode of goodness, or we could even be born with the mode of goodness, born under the control of the mode of goodness. And people who have that type of that type of quality of life, you know, they're very easygoing, they're very peaceful. They don't really they don't overwork themselves in terms of, you know, to what extent they're going to go to do things in the wrong way to achieve particular objectives. No, they won't do that. And therefore, the mode of goodness is very essential for human development and for societal development. It is only when people come to that mode of goodness, their intelligence is developed to that mode of goodness, then that discrimination, even that existence, that encompasses existential intelligence. That helps the individual to be able to grow astronomically in their pursuit for a deeper understanding of life, in the pursuit of spiritual awareness, in the pursuit of trying to facilitate the needs of others, because they go beyond, or they move out of their box of their boxes to be able to see how to facilitate the needs of others, especially spiritual needs. And so here, the mode of goodness is very important, because we are all striving to be able to come to that level of mode of goodness, or to be stabilized on the mode of goodness if you are already there, because that is a platform where we have a better understanding, a better connection, and easily we can think and act globally, because we have been told to think globally but act locally. Because yes, you first have to save yourself. We can't give what we don't have. And therefore, the mode of goodness helps us to discriminate between what is proper, what is not proper, what is ordained by the Lord, what is not ordained by the Lord. And consciously, we are able to discriminate against those things that could lead to complications. And even in terms of any constitution, if someone's in the mode of goodness, hardly they get entangled with crime, because they're very conscious about what is not to be done and what to be done based on the laws of the land. And so here specifically is talking about based on the scriptures. But then some people they don't even read the scriptures, but yet they're very careful about what they do so that they don't hurt people, or they want to do the things. And that's why you find some people, even right in America, they have resources and they want to help people. I know some people, they go all the way to the Amazon. They're searching for people to help, searching for people to develop them, either economically, socially, professionally, academically. Yeah, they're thinking about the global society. They're thinking about others. They're out of their boxes, and they're thinking about general welfare of a human society. And so the idea is that when someone is having these type of qualities, it is very easy for them to be spiritual. In fact, if we connect with such people, very easily they become involved in devotional service. Now, people who are in a mode of goodness, they want to have higher. They want to understand some higher concepts, higher constructs, higher principles of life. And therefore, when we embark on this distribution of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, when we encounter such people, they become very, very easily convinced about what we are saying. Whereas those people in the mode of people who have the understanding that is circumscribed by the mode of goodness and passion, those in the mode of passion, again, the next verse talks about the mode of passion, and those in the mode of passion, they only see, they do what is going to give. They engage in quick fixes. They do what is going to give them a meaningful purpose right now. They don't care about tomorrow. And so the essential factor is that we are trying to raise our consciousness to that platform, to the mode of goodness, and so that we can have a better connection with the Lord, we can have a better relationship with the devotees, we can have a better relationship with the environment or with the community, and we can have better decision in terms of how to tailor our lives towards helping or aligning with the mission statement of Srila Prabhupada and to achieve the goals of his organization. I have some comments, some questions on these points. The boy.
Our boy?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's from a previous life. The boy obviously cultivated the mode of goodness somehow.
It's Prabhupada disciple, He's elderly person now.
So he is it because of his previous life, he was into cultivating a mode of goodness, that in this life he reacted like that?
Yeah, those things are there. So you find some people, they are just born with those particular qualities that you wonder, where did he learn this? Because someone can act, counterproductive to father's instructions, but based on ethical values. The father tells him, you can do like this. But he thought, no, this is not right. Yeah, it's from past life. I mean, it's like you have someone, a child is born, and no one taught him or her how to play piano, or how to play piano. But 3 years or 4 years, he's expert. He just touched the piano and yes. Or you find some child is super intelligent in terms of he has musical intelligence. So it's also like that. Yes, in most cases it's from previous lives. Yeah. Yes.
It's not exactly on the subject. Should I wait until?
No, you can ask your question.
I was reading today. There is some devotional site also, and it was mentioned that Paramatma direct us through our intelligence.
Paramatma did what?
Direct us through our intelligence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the intelligence is a material element, and if you've read about Paramatma directing through intelligence, yes, intelligence is supposed to be a superior element, a superior factor that's supposed to help to direct our affairs. But you know what? The mind is like a bully. You can have someone who is an older kid in the house, and then a younger kid is huge. I have a case like that. In one of my friend's place. So the younger child, he's huge. The older one is like a cretin. He's smallest guy. But the advantage of the older one is he's huge, and he is very much aligned with Prabhupada's teachings. The older one, he's a little bit lousy, okay? He wants to do some sneaky stuff and all these things. And so then the bigger one, the older one, the younger one is supposed to be submissive to the older one. But when it comes to ethics, no. The younger one will jump onto the older one and say, hey, you can't do this in this house. This is not proper. So the mind is also like that. The mind can overwhelm the intelligence. Intelligence discriminates. It's really like directed by the super soul. But the mind is so powerful. It's like the huge younger brother who comes, hey, stop, you can't do this in this house. You do this, I'll beat you up. It's like that. We have that situation where, in most cases, it's like something is telling us inside, no. Then the other inner voice says, come on, do it. Who cares? You rationalize, bring up some logic, rationalize about it. Yeah, so the intelligence is like a cool-headed guy. Humble, cool-headed guy. And so he gets overwhelmed by the mind sometimes. So, but yeah, what you read is true. Yeah. That is the metaphysics of this body. And, people don't know. And in most cases, people say that a number of people don't know. And in most cases, many people think that even celebrities, I know the case of, one of our celebrities when we were young, Jimmy Cliff. You could Google Jimmy Cliff. I mean, in our time, they were the guys, okay? So I know even Jimmy Cliff, he was worshipped like a demigod. But, in terms of metaphysics, he's completely zero. He said that he advocated that people should follow their mind, the instructions of their mind. That we will always go right if you follow the instructions of the mind. Now, when I came to Krishna consciousness, when I got in touch with Prabhupada's teachings, I realized, wow, this guy was completely driving people the opposite side, opposite polarity. Okay, when you find a celebrity advocating in his music, in his lyrics, just follow your mind. You will always be right. So, should I say Krishna saved me? Prabhupada saved me. Yeah, so the mind, a number of people are governed by the mind. Their actions, their impulses are based on executing the will of the mind. And the mind is so powerful. Yeah. So the mind overcomes the intelligence in most cases.
But in devotional, in our devotional life,
Mm-hmm.
if we become more and more pure, we more listen to the...
Yeah.
And
We'll be able to discriminate between instructions of the mind and the will of the Lord. That means under the guidance of intelligence. And this is the whole thing about spiritual development, because we can't say that, oh, well, I'm fine. No one is fine, because anyone could be hit by the mind at any time. Yeah. So we have to always have check and balance of Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. Sastra is what I'm saying, what I'm doing, what I'm going to do, what I'm planning to do. Is it ordained by the Sastra? Is it ordained by the Sadhus? Is it ordained by the Acharyas or the spiritual masters? Yes, with that check and balance help us to get out from trouble. So if even the temptation is there, we hold back and say, hey, wait a minute, mind. Bhaktisiddhanta will say, Dustamana Tunakishera Vaishnava. Hey, mind, what type of devotee are you? Dusta, dirty, the mind is dirty. So Bhaktisiddhanta will query, what type of devotee are you, my dear mind? Yeah, it drives people crazy. Any other comments or questions? In the absence of any other comments or questions, who would like to adjourn? Okay.
It seems that Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra you described as checks and balances, Mark.
Yeah.
So it seems though that there are limits to the ability of one to rely on such checks and balances without also guidance from within, because if you don't know what the Shastra is, and you don't know who the sadhus are, and you don't know who the guru is, then those things, having that checks and balances is very helpful. But ultimately, also there needs to be some sincerity, such that one's guided by Super Soul to at least be able to get one of those three right, and by relying on at least one of those three, Guru and Sadhu Shastra, that can help one to check to see even if one doesn't know what the other two are, by getting at least one right, then one can discriminate whether he's got the other two right or wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. Everything that we need to do, or we have to do, or we are doing, we need that, personal developed intelligence to be able to forge ahead. Otherwise, then we become like zombies. And zombies don't really go anywhere. It's a left right business. I mean, it's like you're in the military. Hey, get up, sit down. But it has going to be like that. Yeah, we have that opportunity, that exclusive function as humans, to have developed intelligence to enable us to forge ahead, to be able to, figure out what is what, and to help us to grow. And that comes also with, like we have these, when we come together, we get some, reinforcement in a number of ways. And that inner development, self-development, sense of self-direction and what is appropriate and what is not. Yeah, people have that inner will and inner sense of direction. Then they make a better progress on an expedited rate. Yeah. Any other comments or questions?
And Mars.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that point. Also, you can connect it to the point in the Matorya Kadambini point in there that states that through the devotee only does one originally get delivered Krishna, not that one gets Krishna outside of the association of devotees. One finds out through the devotee, because it seems connected, because only if one is guided by Krishna in the heart to accept a devotee who can deliver Krishna as one of those three, as the sadhu, then one can. So
yeah, again, you're right in terms of even Prabhupada mentions that in his poem. Krishna taba punya habe ba epunya koribe jabi rani kosi habe druba ati bole to matai. That he declared, Prabhupada declared, hey brothers, don't think you'll approach Krishna directly. Without the mercy of Radha, you can't approach Krishna. You need the mercy of Radha. So in a similar way, we can't even go to Radha. We need to connect with a devotee of the Lord who will help us to direct us to Radha. So in a nutshell, people, it's like someone is doing, a kanista is doing a pujari work. And I'm directly worshiping Krishna. So who are you? I'm higher than everybody else. Oh yeah. But, this is kanista mindset. And therefore, Prabhupada specifically warned, Krishna taba punya habe ebai. E punya koribijabi radharani kosi habe. Druba ati bole tu maitai. It is very difficult to approach Krishna. If even we are physically close to the deity, that doesn't mean that Krishna has given himself to us. We need to go through the a system of a compassion system where we get the mercy of the devotee, or we go through the devotee, or we go to Radharani to be able to get Krishna's blessing. Because then, if everybody has to approach Krishna directly, then we don't even need a system of, parampara. Yeah, so it is an interesting point. What is mentioned in the Kanabini, yeah, Prabhupada also mentioned that specifically on aboard Jaladuta when he was coming to New York in one of his poems. Yeah. All right. Yes.
So, Maharaj, you were mentioning earlier about different religions,
Mm-hmm.
and then at some point you said that it's a matter of time
Mm-hmm.
for somebody
To rise.
to rise to the level of Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, what about people who are very religious, who follow very well, they follow very religiously their own scriptures,
Mhm.
and but their religion, like you mentioned, like Muslims or maybe Jewish, Orthodox, they
Any religion.
actually
Yeah.
eat meat
Mhm.
and all that. So, but they follow their own scriptures very in a
Very rigidly.
Yes, in a
Mhm.
disciplined manner. So,
What's your fate?
What happens?
What's your fate? What is their fate? That's your question.
What is your fate?
What is their fate?
What is their fate?
What happens to them?
What happens to them is the
Yeah,
question.
that's what I mean. What is their fate? Where did they go from here? Yeah, you see,
A fate.
yeah, it is. We should not minimize people. Just because someone does not come to our temple doesn't mean that he doesn't know God. It doesn't mean that he's not connected with God. We call God Krishna. That's the original name, one who is all attractive. But the other people may not have that higher understanding. Before one comes to this level of directly chanting Krishna's name, following this high standard, he has or she has accumulated what Lord Brahma refers to as Krita Punya Punja, heaps and heaps of pious merit before we come to this level. Before you come to this level of chanting Krishna's names, you have accumulated so much of pious merit. Just because someone has not accumulated pious merit sufficiently doesn't mean that they are not connected with Krishna. They are connected with Krishna. Every Krishna mentions Mama Evam So Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Everyone is having some relationship with Krishna. He is part and parcel of Krishna. So people may serve Krishna in a different setting. They may be aligned with the instructions of Krishna on a particular level, not on this, high ethical level of non-violence and cleanliness, compassion and all this stuff. No. They might even be compassionate, but on a different level. It doesn't mean that if someone does not have, it doesn't mean that someone does not have 4.5 GPA.
Well, 4.33.
Then he didn't pass, he didn't graduate. No, it's not like that. Graduation is on a different level. People have people have different GPAs, but the important thing is, did they graduate? If they graduated, he's a graduate. What the hell are you talking about? So my point in making that correlation is that we should understand that people cannot our faces are not the same. Our priority sequence varies. Our order of alignment varies. But it's like someone is going to DC. One person decides to fly to DC. Somebody decides to go by the train. Somebody decides to drive his Mercedes or her Mercedes to DC. It depends on, someone decides to ride a bicycle to DC. A scooter. But they are on their way to DC, all right? So you can't say, oh, he's not on the race. He's on his way or on our way to DC. It's a matter of time. Okay, that's the point. So yeah, Lord Krishna mentions in the Gita that everyone is following his path. It's just a matter of time. And he specifically mentioned, don't disturb the faith of people who are even worshiping demigods. Because if you push them around, they may lose credibility and they may lose a sense of direction. And so, what someone is doing, whether they're eating meat, they are not our devotees right now. But in the future, they may even become more serious devotees than than some of us. I've seen cases where people came to devotional service, and those who engaged them, those whom they served, those people who came now, they become sannyasis. And those other people, they become gurus. They become paramahamsas. They had many disciples. And the other people, the people who were engaged initially when they come to devotional service, they're still there. Yeah, there are cases like that. Do not underestimate anyone's spiritual potencies. Whether the person is directly serving Krishna or is not. At least we should try to find the good side of people. We should find the good side of people. Encourage people. See, when in graduate school, there's something I learned that it makes it very very easy for me to, to get along with people or even respond to people. If even someone says something nasty, okay? Suppose you have a parent who says something, who is very oppositional and says something nasty about what you're practicing. There are certain words you use that will simply will generate instant negative reaction. So they say something nasty instead of completely opposing them right on the spot, because you have this higher knowledge and they say something silly. So what you can do is appreciate what they've said. That alone basically unfolds the ego. Appreciate what you have said. I had a friend from Canada, and so when we were in Mayapur together, we were discussing, and when I was telling him some things, he felt so bad because of the way his family have been reacting to him and the way he responded. I mean, it's like he's labeled like, a fanatic and all this. But I told him that, yeah, you're fanatical. Because your parents are not Krishna conscious, your brother is not Krishna conscious, and so you don't seem to understand how to respond when they say something. So here is one way to do it. If someone says something that is like a hogwash, insincere nonsense, you tell the person, yeah, I really appreciate your point. I would like to add that. Instead of saying, however, immediately you use the word, however, he knows or she knows you're opposing his point or her point. But when you appreciate when you say, I really appreciate, this is very intelligent. This is an intelligent point you made. And I would like to add that. Then you go on talking about the things that you want to talk. And they will accept it so much in good faith because you are not in an argument with them. So it's a skill. So a number of cases, we don't know how to respond to people, especially family members. A number of us fight with family members a lot. We don't know how to respond. Just because they are not devotees now, it doesn't mean that they will not. I think I told you the story of one of my friends, one of the boys who served me in India some years ago. He told me his parents, they had two boys. His parents, he finished first degree and moved to the temple as a brahmachari. He did IT, and his mother and his father and all of his family, they were completely opposed to him. They did all type of things to sabotage his effort, but he kept persistently pushing on. And sometimes he would visit the mother, bring prasadam, and he was telling me, you see, Maharaj, these people, they gave me hell. Now my mother is more serious in devotional service than myself. She chants 64 rounds on a Ekadasi. I can't even chant 24 rounds. He was telling me that, The woman who gave him hell. So, we should see how best we are responding to people's situations and needs. We can't expect everyone to be on the same level at the same time. That's the point. That's my response. Yeah. All right. So we'd like to draw the curtain now, and fortunately and unfortunately, I'm leaving almost immediately. Because I had to catch up with a number of things. But I'm again happy to be here. After when was the last time I came here?
A long time ago.
Before I went to India. No. When I came to India, I was here.
You came back.
Yeah.
At least.
Yesterday, a long time ago.
You're never satisfied.
We'll seek to make arrangements for you to come soon.
Okay. All right. So again, welcome to 22nd Avenue, Matchless Gift Shop, Srila Prabhupada's very first temple. Shila Prabhupada ki jai.
Right.